are going to the AFC title game. They are going to meet Baltimore because the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills. Wide right, my buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Was it wide right? I don't know because I wasn't
right.
paying attention because it was a miss. And that's what the Bills have done. Every time they come at the king, they miss. We are now live on the Postgame Show. I'm Hayley Lewis on the Kansas City Sports Network. We are streaming live on YouTube as well as Bleacher Report. Thank you so much for joining in with us. I got Ken Swanson over here. We got the boys at home. We got Craig Stout. We got Maddie Lane joining us as well. We want to hear your thoughts in the comments, but Kent, give it to the people. What you got off the bat?
I am an emotional wreck. I'm an emotional wreck for myself, and honestly, I'm an emotional wreck for the Buffalo Bills fans. I feel so bad for them to a line. Because, look, here's the truth of the matter. I love you, Bills fans. I do. And I love all the people over at Cover One and all that.
I do too, yeah.
But here's the deal. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills are Charlie Brown. And the Kansas City Chiefs are Lucy in the football. And I still have yet to see Charlie kick that ball.
Bless him.
I have seen Lucy pull back and charge Charlie 5 cents for it.
Because Lucy knows what she wants.
They ran into the best player in the world. And Josh Allen was awesome. And Patrick LaVon Mahomes was just simply better because he is Michael Jordan. And I think Chiefs fans forgot that for a little bit because of how many struggles this team has had. Mm-hmm. But they have the best player in the world. And when you have the best player in the world, you don't know anything other than an AFC championship game. And that is still true for the 6th straight year.
If you guys can't tell, Kent's been at a distillery for a while.
I have no voice.
So he's been enjoying it. Guys, before I throw it to the boys at home to get their initial thoughts, this is how I see it. Kansas City got it done with Tyreek Hill. They got past the Bills. They did it with a culmination the next year of a bunch of wide receivers, up to 11 people getting their hands on the ball per game. They did it that way. Now they do it with a defense, and a third way they have beaten the Bills. With 3 different styles of teams, the organization has consistently shown they will find a way to win, and that the Chiefs are just superior to the Buffalo Bills. Boys at home, let's start with Craig, and then we'll get Maddie's opinion on this one. Initial thoughts after the Chiefs are now advancing to the AFC title game for the 6th straight year.
Well, I mean, oh my goodness. Initial thoughts here. Get this one out of the way. All juice forever.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a day for Therese Paylor. 2 teams that he loved in their respective conference championship games. Big day. Just a gutty performance by the defense there at the end. After getting run over all day long, come up with 3 straight stops. That was the difference in this game. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense looked like what they're supposed to. This is what we've been waiting for all year long. They come out, they do it in their biggest game of the year to date until next week, and just a really good team performance. I can find things on both sides of the ball that I really liked, but Patrick Mahomes, man, he's back.
Patrick mother frickin' Mahomes. Maddie, bring it home.
Oh, man. So, I also feel a little bad for Bills Mafia, but, I wouldn't hesitate to put them through the table right now either. This is just, it is what it is, right? I love Bills fans. They're amazing, and I love this rivalry. This is the best football game every single year when these two teams play in the playoffs. It's the perfect game. Everything about this was perfect, and, kind of like what we saw coming out of the Miami Dolphins game in the wild card round, the Chiefs offense has figured it out. They picked it up. They figured out what they have to do. They started putting it all together, and you really saw it in this game. The defense came up when they had to. That's 6. You have to use 2 hands now to talk about how many straight AFC championship games they have gone to. Think about it. That's insane. This team right now is sitting here sputtering all regular season, and not a lick of it matters. People spent all month talking about, you don't want to see the playoffs. You don't want to see the playoffs. Now they said other teams don't want to see the Chiefs. Guess what? I bet the Ravens aren't happy the Chiefs are about ready to roll up into Baltimore right now. I bet whoever's in the NFC ain't happy the Chiefs are still alive. Nobody wants to play this team. They have the best player that has ever existed on this planet in any sport playing quarterback for their football team. It doesn't matter what they look like already. The Chiefs are still here. You're going to have to beat them. You're going to have to find a way to do it. And the Bills, yet again, did not.
I think those are facts. Everyone's spitting facts. Kent, I'll let you kind of dive in a little deeper on this one, but everyone's hit the nail on the head. The Kansas City Chiefs will find a way to win. They are the superior team. They have the superior quarterback and the head coach, and I think it's about time that the rest of the league has to acknowledge that. They have now won in the court of public opinion.
They've made things hard on themselves this season. And like there's no denying that. This has been one of the most frustrating seasons because expectations are so high. And with expectations becomes frustration, right? But they found something, and you started to see some sparks happen against the Bengals late in the season. You started to see them say, all right, let's take away some of the problem areas of this team. And by problem areas, I mean players. And let's focus on these guys. And they simplified some things there from a personnel perspective, and they started to find their way a little bit. And you kind of felt like there was going to be a culmination of that. And in a lot of ways, this team, look, there's still some red zone struggles. We can talk about McColl at some point. But, the Chiefs were dominant today offensively. And they were moving the ball at will, and they made a couple of mistakes in the red zone, obviously, that have continued to ail this team, but not to a point that it mattered. They still put 27 points on the board against a good football team on the road, and that was enough. That was enough to win. They're going to have to step their game up again. McCole Hardman's either going to have to not be on the field or is going to have to protect the football next week. But they're continuing to play their best football at the right time. And I think we saw additional progress this week. Patrick Mahomes was averaging 11 yards per pass attempt heading into the fourth quarter. He played, and he still finished the game at 9.3 yards per attempt, and that's including, throwing to Rashee Rice in the end zone at the 11. Like, he was playing out of his mind. And when you have this kind of guy, we can get the Grim Reaper Affliction T-shirts back out, folks. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No.
You don't like the 13-second?
You're welcome.
You don't like them?
Yeah,
it didn't go well after that game, so let's bury that one.
I understand the Bengals.
I think let's get something else. Like, just find it.
But they're in Costa Rica. The Bengals are in Costa Rica.
Can we start calling them Lucy?
Find the super villain and just go with that. Like anything else.
Yeah, but no, great offensive performance. And honestly, the Chiefs were the better football team. It really wasn't arguable. The Chiefs made mistakes that kept them from winning that football game in a different fashion. They kept it close. The right team won today. The right team won today in Orchard Park, ripping the hearts again out of the Buffalo Bills. I cannot overstate how important that is, especially considering Mahomes is just he's Michael Jordan, y'all.
I also think this is the first time in a long time that we've actually said the right team won, because a lot of times the Chiefs are not the right team and they still find a way to win. I would say absolutely without any uncertainty in this, the Chiefs dominated that game, and I felt like they were in control the entire game. The only time that I felt really uncomfortable was right there at the end, where I was like, oh my God, are they going to be in control of this entire game and just give it up at the very end? Maddie, I want to hear your thoughts kind of on how the offense was the flip-flop of what we've been used to. I was talking to Craig about this in the third quarter. We thought the defense was going to come out and be lights out. We thought that we would never see Mahomes magic again, and yet it was the offense carrying the team this time.
It really was. And this was kind of like a throwback to the Chiefs teams of yesteryear of this run here. And it was so crazy. They come out and instead of throwing the ball over the middle of the field a ton, they are just throwing corner after corner after corner route against this Bills team that I think was trying really hard to pack the middle of the field to make up for their injuries. And they were just tearing them up by going with these condensed formations, using McCole Hardman in motion just to keep eyes on him. And they were just throwing the ball downfield. I think Mahomes ended up 3 for 3 on passes that went over 20 yards in the air. He was phenomenal all game long throwing the ball downfield. Like, they just had a great passing attack. They ended up with 8 explosive plays overall in this game. Like, that's an insane stat for what we've seen from this offense. This offense literally went 8 games without an explosive play, it felt like at times, multiple times throughout the regular season. And they have 8 in one game. It's just, I think they were pulling all of the right levers, and they were against Miami too. And it was 2 polar opposite offensive game plans. That's how you kind of know, okay, maybe the Chiefs kind of say, hey, maybe once it gets to, the playoffs, we're going to turn it up just a little bit. Yeah. Maybe we'll try some new stuff here. MVS has another phenomenal playoff performance.
Well, I think if you were being a little bit, like if you weren't just taking some of the stuff we saw from the regular season, part of you had a little bit of feeling that one of these guys that's just been awful in the regular season was going to find a way to make a play.
Right.
I wrote about it this week. I said, you got to keep firing. You got to keep trying to take shots down the field. And it could be McCole. It could be an MVS. It could be a Justin Watson. And they kept firing. And they kept taking a few shots down the field. And they hit one. And ultimately, that was the difference in the game. Josh Allen's average depth of target at one point was under 3 yards per attempt in the third quarter. He was afraid to throw the ball down the field. He was terrified of making a mistake, and he still made plenty. He fumbled the football in the fourth quarter at the 50-yard line. Shamari Connor falls on that football instead of just trying to pick it up. There's 7 different scenarios that the Chiefs win this game, and ultimately they still won it. But the Chiefs made the big play down the field. They made some big explosive plays in the red zone. And they were the most consistent offense on the field, even though it didn't feel like it for the entirety of the game. They were the better team. The right team won today.
I agree with you. Craig, what are your thoughts? I see you itching to get in on this one.
Yeah, I do. This is the same game. They played this game a lot of times this year. Not like a ton of times this year, but a lot of times this year. They played this game. And those bounces that didn't go their way, McCole Hardman fumbling out of the end zone, not falling on multiple fumbles by the opposition, not getting off the field on fourth downs, third downs. We've seen this come back and bite them in the ass repeatedly multiple times this year. There have also been times that they've just gotten their ass kicked, but lots of their losses were self-inflicted wounds, them not executing and not having the wherewithal to be able to overcome them. And today they did. That was the difference. You finally saw the team that we've seen for the past 5 years where all of a sudden it was they shot themselves in the foot, but it was just kind of like a flesh wound. It was a grazing bullet or something like that, rather than being, hey, we emptied the clip into our foot and now we can't walk anymore. That's what it was all season long. Now this game right here, they overcame it. They really did. They were able to play well and overcome that. And there were times throughout this game that I kept looking back at that one forced punt that the Chiefs had in the first quarter that the defense came up with. And I was going, is that going to be the difference in this game?
Yeah.
Is that going to be the thing that turns the tide? And you saw what happened in the second half. All of a sudden, that one thing allowed the Chiefs to play with the lead for long enough to where the Bills abandoned their running game, had to start throwing the ball, played into what the Chiefs defense wanted them to do a lot more, and ultimately helped decide the games there. So I don't know. It just felt different. It felt like it did for the last 5 years where it's we made mistakes, but we overcame them anyway.
And I think, on the outside looking in, it's always really frustrating to watch, what happens during the regular season and see the mistakes. Because, we've all seen what championship football looks like in Kansas City. And frankly, this version of the Chiefs has looked different than some of the championship teams that we've seen in the past with some of the consistent mistakes. And, we on the outside harp on, some of the, things that this team is lacked in. And we've, even criticized to some extent some of the coaching in some of the ways that we've thought about the coaching staff. And this is where I want to give them credit, right? Because as an outside looking in, we don't really understand exactly, the kind of coaching that these guys are, and kind of leadership that these guys have. And I think this is one of those games where those moments show, because they didn't panic. They showed confidence in these guys, and it took a long time. It took a long time for this version of the Chiefs to reveal itself, but they stayed consistent where a lot of us on the outside looking in didn't.
Yeah.
And so that's a credit to them. They found what works, and, it's easy to start doubting things when you see the results on the field, but I think the coaching staff is starting to show up in a big, big way in the playoffs, and I think that's why this team's going to the AFC Championship game yet again.
All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and take a break. If you are joining us right now, either through the Kansas City Sports Network on YouTube or through Bleacher Report, Welcome in. This is Weston, Missouri. We are at the distillery, Holladay Distillery. We're just north of Kansas City, and this is where we've had a watch party, and now we're doing a post-game show party. Myself, Hayley Lewis, joined by Kent Swanson. Also, we got Maddie Lane and Craig Stout joining us remotely. We're going to go ahead and take our first break, though. We will be back in a little bit with more analysis of the Chiefs beating the Buffalo Bills 27-24.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
All right, welcome back into the post-game show. Let's throw it to Maddie. Maddie, I know you're itching to give us a little more information about this one. The biggest thing that I took away from this game was that the Chiefs, and I know we've been hitting this point home, is that they can find any way to win. But I saw Mahomes doing over my dead body, and we talked about that a lot. He was like, no way in hell am I getting out of here without getting it done on the road. It would be the storyline we would hear about, and we'd be sick about it as Chiefs fans, that Mahomes could not win a playoff game on the road. He only could do it at home. Well, he got it done on the road. It silences, well, the majority of people, let's say. Maddie, give me your initial thoughts on Mahomes' first playoff road game win outside, of course, those Super Bowls.
I mean, that guy picked the best time of the year to have his two best games back to back, right? Like against the Dolphins, I think he was great, and I don't know if the score like fully reflects it because the red zone offense had its ups and downs. But this game, he was just as good, if not better, and it was from that very first play. The one game, Donovan Smith was great in this game. We're going to talk about the offensive line at some point. The offensive line was great, but Donovan Smith on that very first play, he gets beat, and Mahomes does a traditional Mahomes thing where he just spins around, avoids the sack, and finds somebody downfield. It's just you knew from that moment it was a little different. And as the game continued, just even those first couple drives, you're like, oh, he's throwing the ball with that confidence again that there's going to have to be something crazy that knocks him out of it. And that never happened. He just stayed playing confident all game long. And that showed up in the Chiefs offense and it allowed the run game to get going. It's just, this is the right time for him to be peaking. And like I've said this a few times, a friend of mine on Twitter at Ross Uglum has compared Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. They just kind of wait until the playoffs, and then all of a sudden it's a completely different player. That's what it feels like right now. It's like Mahomes like, yeah, I'm still really good, and during the regular season, I'm going to give you these flashes, but I'm going to wait until it matters. And then you were just going to get reminded real quick, like, hey, you can give somebody else this regular season MVP. You can let somebody else have this accolade over here for these meaningless 17 games now, right? When it matters, I'm the best player and you have to deal with me no matter what. And I think the NFL is finding that out right now. And so I just think we're all in a really nice spot. We're getting to watch Mahomes play exceptional football with a, pretty average to below average supporting cast. Like you look at, I can't wait to see the Chiefs snap counts. They had to be in heavy personnel a lot with McCole Hardman out there a lot, just running jet motions and not even real routes. They were just him as a motion man and throwing the ball to other guys. Like you're having footballs hit Justin Watson in the chest and get dropped. McCole Hardman's fumbling the ball through the end zone, and it didn't matter. This offense was still really unstoppable. It's just he's that good, and I don't think the world appreciates it because we're tired of it. We're used to it now. Here, we want to see 500 yards and 7 touchdowns, and if not, then it wasn't good. And this game was a masterpiece.
That's a good way to look at it. We're spoiled.
I mean, it has to be frustrating as shit if you're a Bills fan right now, because even if Tyler Bass hits that field goal, do you think the Chiefs aren't winning this game?
No, I still
do you think that they're not at least driving down for Harrison Butker to nail a field goal?
Cash that check anyway.
I don't even want to think about it, but
there was nothing that the Chiefs offense had one drive that they looked like the offense this year for the majority of the year. The rest of the game, they moved the ball at will. Now all of a sudden you're going to play in a softer shell. You're not going to be playing, trying to pin back, take away the run game and all of that. You've got Patrick Mahomes out there dialed in the way that he was. They were going to win that game either way. But when that third down occurred and they trotted out Tyler Bass, it was over. They were losing it one way or another. It just so happened that this was the, unfortunately, less painful way probably for Bills fans. But, I mean, it's one of those that it was inevitable today. And it was because he was so good. Andy Reid was so good. Travis Kelce was exceptional today. Rashee Rice was exceptional today. And I can't believe we've gone this far into this podcast. Holy hell, Isaiah Pacheco.
Yep.
Like, he was outrageous today along with this offensive line. There was very little on offense that wasn't working for the Kansas City Chiefs today. So it was fun to watch.
I'm going to go around the room here real quick. Just out of curiosity, because Isaiah Pacheco was incredible. Tell me how many yards per carry you think James Cook averaged today.
Yards
Hayley.
per carry?
Yes. Haley, guess.
4.5?
Matthew.
3.7.
It's not fair. I'm staring at it right now.
Okay. If they averaged
2.1.
Oh, thanks,
No.
Tucker. They averaged,
I'm in the room.
They averaged 3.4 yards per carry.
3.4
James Cook did, and it felt like a lot more. The Chiefs averaged 6.1 yards on the ground. Well, early in the game, it was.
It was Allen. It was Allen.
But early in the game, it was 2nd and 2 the entire game. But yeah, the Chiefs averaged 6.1 yards per carry. That's excluding McCole, or that's not even excluding McCole Hardman's negative 1 yard carry. 4.7 on the ground for the Bills. Honestly, it kind of normalized by the end of the game. It doesn't feel like it because of how early the early down success was for the Bills, but it kind of normalized to a level that got an acceptable range. They actually averaged more yards on the per rush than they did. Well, no, never mind. Sorry, it's 4.8 versus 4.7. I thought I saw 4.6. Tucker, you said you had something real quick though.
Yeah, I do. Andy Reid's up at the podium right now. He gave a quick little injury update. Mike Edwards had the concussion. Willie Gay tweaked his neck, and Joe Thuney has a right pec injury. I know when he left at first it was a chest, but now it's a pec injury. That doesn't sound very good. I've seen some pictures of ruptured and
disgusting.
Torn pecs.
Yeah,
they're gross.
And it takes a long time to come back from.
But
it's a bad one.
Andy Reid also said that he'd be okay if they didn't have to play the Bills again in the postseason in the future.
Yeah.
Trust me, I think all of us would be okay.
Yeah, it's a
I mean, it
dogfight
makes
every
for such good TV, and we enjoy watching it. And obviously, all of us, here's the funny thing that I was telling my parents about the other day. I have made such good friends with the Buffalo media.
Yeah.
Because
great.
I see them all the time.
Love them.
We're very close with Buffalo media because we're always talking and we're always interacting because we're always in the postseason together, and it's a new rivalry that I love it.
And I think the thing is and I love Bills Mafia. I know some of them get on the nerves of some Chiefs fans, but they're cut from the same cloth as Chiefs fans.
I don't mind them.
There's a lot of similarities to how Chiefs fans are about the Chiefs and that Bills fans are. They're very loyal. They're very generous people. They care deeply, and they've experienced a lot of heartbreak. And now the Chiefs are giving them additional heartbreak. And
are you setting them up on Tinder?
No. I love them. I do. I feel bad.
This is just Kid in a distillery.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, hang on here. They shut the hot water off in the Chiefs locker room after the game. They were so pissed off. So let's be careful.
Let's let it breathe.
Donovan Smith's out here tweeting out that they shut the hot water off on him.
Oh, right now?
So yeah, right now.
Did you guys know that Patrick Mahomes
That
averaged
petty.
almost double the yards per attempt that Josh Allen did in this game?
Do you think I knew that? I'm not looking at the stats.
I can't believe that.
I'm like, were you wanting me to tell you that?
No.
Here's the thing: Josh Allen completed 62% of his passes behind the line of scrimmage, and those passes accounted for literally half of his passing yards. Josh Allen and the Bills' offense were terrified to try to play a traditional offense, their traditional offense.
I think that's a good point.
They didn't want to play the Bills' offense. They didn't want to have Josh Allen go play Josh Allen football. They wanted to run the ball, control the clock, control the trenches. They did a good job of it for a while, but you saw kind of at the end when Josh Allen had to start making plays. It wasn't that he was necessarily bad. It was just they were clearly a little out of sync. And yes, they had some wide receiver injuries. Guys were missing. But they just weren't in a rhythm that they needed to be because everything they were doing was just a swing pass, a screen over and over, a leaking the running back out off play action. Okay, cool. That's an awesome 7 yards. But you give that up to this Bills offense over and over again to stop the chunk plays. This wasn't the Bills offense you've seen in the passing game at all. They were afraid of Spags. They were terrified of what Steve Spagnuolo was going to do to them.
I think they were afraid of their own defense too. And I think that's why you saw them trying to sustain the long drives.
Banged up they are.
I mean, Haley, you made a great point off the top of the live stream where you're talking about, okay, are they trying to just get these long drives going, just to keep,
to extend,
just trying to
take the time off the clock.
to shorten that game? You made a good point. I said, well, we'll see kind of, if that's really what they're trying to do after, But to your point, you had to beat on it immediately. It's they were terrified of their defense, and they should have been, because the Chiefs. I mean, the only people that could stop the Chiefs were the Chiefs in this game.
Yeah.
And it was some red zone execution. Because, I mean, Mahomes missed a corner route to Travis, and Mahomes missed a corner route to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who was open too. And, some red zone execution was really, early on, what was the problem for the team. Yeah. It wasn't the Bills. The Bills didn't really do much of anything the entirety of this game when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, and the injuries finally caught up to them.
Yeah, to that point, what it ended up being was I was talking about the time of possession through a lot of this game. And I know that the Bills got the ball to start. They ended with the ball. So the first half, everyone was being like, "Oh, don't look at it. It's too skewed." Yes, it was, but that was also, I think, a strategy of theirs. They ended up with 37 minutes of possession, 37 minutes to the Chiefs' 22. Also, they had 27 first downs compared to the Chiefs' 21. That didn't throw me as much, but the time of possession, I think, was a smart strategy by them. I will say the one thing that did shock me about this was that there were no interceptions by either quarterback and only one turnover by Kansas City and no Jawan Taylor penalty.
Hey, we'll take it.
What?
Well, and
uncharacteristic.
I think, if the Bills were hoping the Chiefs were going to make a mistake,
just slightly.
The Chiefs have made a lot more mistakes than they have in this game. I mean, they made more mistakes last week than they did this week. If you really think about it.
Yeah.
So they might have been right. They might have been right, but Mahomes was just literally perfect. Tucker Franklin has something.
Yeah, I do have something. I just want to give a shout out to everyone who's dropped super chats in the chat right now. So people are dropping $2 super chats in there. If you don't know, that is the number of the kicker that missed the field.
Tyler Bass.
That's hilarious.
All of the super chats do go to the KCSN Foundation, so that's where that's going. Yeah. So I want to shout out Ross Sawyer, Andrew Hunter for $4.99 super chats. Corey Peter dropped in a $10 one. Craig, this is a question for you.
Oh.
Maybe that, but we'll take. You know what? Let's take that one at the end because we're still talking about this.
We'll take that one at the end. And Corey, I'll tell you what. We'll remember this. We'll talk about it on the lab because we'll get a little nerdy with that one, buddy. Appreciate you.
Grayson wants people to remember that Maddie picked the Bills.
Oh, look at Maddie's screen name. What is it? Biggest Chief believer? You spelled believer wrong.
Full-time Chiefs believer.
Be-liver.
Full-time Chiefs believer.
I was going to give you guys, I was going to say when we started Toast Game, that, you guys had, the next 2 minutes just to flame me the entire time for picking the Bills in the chat, but you guys did it the whole time anyway.
Well, you spell like you predict, so.
You can bring it on now. Just go ahead, send them now, put them in the chat. Tucker will put them up there as we keep going. I picked the Bills to win a 2-point game and said if the Chiefs offense played like they did versus Miami, they'd win. And guess what? They were better.
Caveat it.
Just catch the L.
Here he goes.
Catch the L and the E that you missed.
What happened on 5 things? What happened on 5 things? I said I picked the Chiefs there. See, I changed my mind.
No, we weren't let you out.
You're trying to gaslight us.
Well, listen, I got to get back on track here because Christopher Meyer also dropped in a $2 super chat there. Thank you, Chris. There's a couple of questions with a couple $4.99 ones that we can get to here in a little bit. A super sticker here from Tin Hand.
Hey.
Thank you for that. Again, all of these super chats go to the KCSN Foundation. Thank you for everyone who has donated the super chats so far. We'll get to the questions a little bit later on, and obviously we'll have Toast Game.
Tuck, I'm about to actually toss it back to you, but for those of you who are joining us, we got a lot of people on this stream, and probably maybe some of you who don't know who we are. We are the Kansas City Sports Network. We are live streaming with Bleacher Report, also on the Kansas City Sports Network on YouTube. If you're just joining us now, my name is Hayley Lewis, joined by Kent Swanson. We also got Maddie Lane, and we got Craig Stout joining us from home. We're a part of Kansas City Chiefs media, giving you all things you need to know about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're breaking down this 27-24 victory. The Chiefs headed to their 6th straight AFC title. Tucker, we're going to take a break, but before we take a break, we got to give them the betting goods.
Oh, look, I've already been keeping an eye out on the line for the Chiefs game. It's already out from our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Let us know.
Unofficial sports betting partner at the NFL and the NFL playoffs. They're bringing you an offer that'll make the playoffs electrifying, and new customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Looking at that line, the Baltimore Ravens are favored by 3.5 points. Okay. Going into that one, 3.5 points in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. Over-under set at 45, which was the over-under.
Bring it. Bring it, Lamar.
Looking at the other game, you get plus money, plus 145 on the Chiefs, by the way. So go ahead and, not gambling advice, but go ahead and
full-time believer in the Chiefs.
Not to tell you what to do. But.
Niners favored by 6.5 over the Lions as well. But if you want to get in on that action, get in that plus 45, a little money line action there for the Kansas City Chiefs. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code KCSN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restriction terms and responsible gaming resources. Hayley?
We're going to take a break and be right back with more analysis of the Chiefs beating the Bills like they always do. Bye-bye.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
All right, welcome back into the Kansas City Sports Network podcast. We are streaming through Kansas City Sports Network as well as Bleacher Report, myself with Kent Swanson, as well as the boys at home joining us. We're divulging into this one. The Chiefs coming away with the win, and we believe so because the Chiefs played better in this game and proved that they were the better team. Craig, we haven't heard from you in a minute, so if you got anything, a bone to pick. I know we were talking about the defensive side of things. That seems to be your love.
Yes.
But let
yes,
me know.
it does.
He goes, yes, it is.
Yeah. No. It was really fun.
What did you think? What did you see out of the Chiefs? Maybe more or less with the new injuries. What are you thinking?
I don't love the injuries that occurred with it. I think that those guys are going to be immense pieces to this defense in the next round, and I'm not sure that either one of them is going to be back. We'll wait and see on that. But I love that they banded together at the end of the game. Again, turnover on downs. That one was massive. What a play by Drew Tranquil on that one. That deserves just as much praise as the Dan Sorensen one. Unfortunately, they didn't score off of it to bury the Bills on that one. But Tranquil really came into the game late and was making plays all over the place. Justin Reed, my goodness. Everybody should be terrified to go across the middle of the field against this Chiefs defense with the way that Justin Reed is playing right now. And I hope that Khalil Shakir isn't having any like residual effects from that hit that he took. That was a monster hit in shoulder, sure. But one of many major hits that Justin Reed brought. Charles Omenihu, though, on third down, coming up with that pressure to force the throwaway. That was the biggest defensive play of the game right there. They were just really good yet again at the end of the game there when they needed them to be. Really all it took was a little bit of offensive adversity for all of a sudden the defense to be like, oh yeah, we're the Chiefs defense from 2023. We know what we are again. And they just shut down the end of the game. Allowing 0 points in the final 3 drives is exactly what was needed there, and had some really timely ones. The turnover on downs, they allowed 7 yards on that set of downs. The punt on the next one, -2. So, I mean, it was just one of those that, like, they didn't even allow a whole bunch of yards and a missed field goal like they did on the last one. They really got the ball back to their offense really quickly. That was the difference of the game.
Do we feel like the Chiefs' defense is what has solidified this season to be what it has been? Or are we going to put that weight on Mahomes? That's a very broad question. But do you get what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Do we think it's the defense that has gotten us where, or I'm not a part of the team, so why am I saying us? Gotten the Chiefs where they are, or is it because of Mahomes?
I think,
you can't say a combination of the two. I need you to give the goods to one person.
So I think it's the defense.
You say choose coward?
Oh, Matthew. Hey, Mr.
Bill's
Believer.
Mafia?
Mr. Believer.
Mr.
Believer.
Believer.
Listen.
Sorry.
If the Chiefs doesn't play to the level that they've played this season, the Chiefs may not even be in the position to let their offense struggle through all the things that they've struggled through. And it's not on Mahomes. It's on the pass catchers. It's on the players that have made some big mistakes in big games during the season. And it's the Chiefs that has kind of carried this team throughout it. And so if they don't have this Chiefs, obviously the offense is doing some heavier lifting finally in the playoffs.
Chiefs?
Yeah. Have you never heard that? Have you never heard that? Have you really never heard that?
I just crawled out of the hole today, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Have you never heard that?
I wish I could claim credit for it. It's the Chiefs.
That is so Homer.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's just a defense.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Anyways,
Go on with your point.
They needed that defense to carry them throughout the entirety of the season, and they're finally getting more complimentary football, and that's why this team has won 2 games in the playoffs. Is they've played really good complimentary football. They haven't made too many big mistakes, and they've done some heavy lifting for the defense finally. Even though the defense didn't have their best game, they settled in late. And I mean, I think the other thing is, I think the defense probably, when you look at it, has probably played better than people are going to feel. Mm-hmm. It felt very helpless early in the game because the Bills were having these long, sustained drives. Yeah. But they settled in pretty good in the second half when all things considered. I mean, they gave up 7 points in the second half, right?
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah,
they gave up 7 points in the second halh. So people are going to say what they're going to say, but they played an outstanding second half of football. And I think that's going to get overlooked a little bit when it's all said and done, and it shouldn't.
I just think it all stems back from good old 2019 overhaul of the defense by Steve Spagnuolo. Everyone wanted him gone after they couldn't get rolling. Everyone wanted the new personnel he brought in out of here, and they couldn't stand it. Chris Jones wasn't worth it. This. We heard all the talk. And by week 9 or 10, they finally started rolling, and people were like, all right, around Halloween, that's when the Chiefs defense starts to light up. Mm-hmm. That's what the theme was for the past couple of years. And I feel like the last year was building it into this year, which this year, of course, has just now brought everything to fruition. Yeah. And that's my point.
The Chiefs allowed 24 points on the day. The most that they have allowed was 27 to the Green Bay Packers, and I think everybody can remember that game was a lot of turnovers. Chiefs were on a lot of short fields. That was rough. It took the Chiefs exactly 4 weeks to allow a 30-point game in any season under Steve Spagnuolo right now. So, I mean, the fact that they haven't allowed one throughout this entire regular season and now in 2 games into the playoffs is massive. They have been the backbone for this team. They have been the engine for this team. They have been the reason why they were the 3 seed. Now, unfortunately, the offense was also the reason why they were the 3 seed, just in a different direction there. But we saw what happens when the offense plays well today, and some timely Chiefs defense at the end of this one was the difference. So I still think it's the defense, even though the offense was clearly the best side of the football today. So, yeah.
Maddie, what say you? What say you, the Chiefs believer?
I think the defense is clearly what got them here, right? They're not in this spot without the defense. They probably have a couple extra losses throughout the year if the defense isn't playing as great as it did all year. However, as I think I've maintained all year, and I think a lot of people believe, this Chiefs offense had to come around for them to go farther. This Chiefs offense had to start doing more if they were going to advance the playoffs beyond the wild card round, and that's what I think had to happen today. The offense had to be better, and we kind of saw in the first half. The offense matched, serve with the Bills while the defense was trying to figure it out. And to their credit, they gave up 1 score in the second half. They did everything they absolutely could in the second half to keep the Bills right where they were. And the Chiefs offense did enough to give them the win. So the defense got them there, but now it's time, I think. And the defense continue to be great, but you got to pass that baton. If you're going to win a Super Bowl, the offense is going to have to continue to be the 1A part of this team. I don't think defenses can be the 1A to a Super Bowl winning team consistently in the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
Really hard to go that route. So you need this version of the Chiefs offense again, and it looks like they're ready. It looks like they're ready to take off here for the final stretch, especially as the Chiefs defense is going through a couple injuries. We don't know, when Mike Edwards, Willie Gay, we don't know when these guys will come back a little bit. So perfect timing to pass off that baton, give it to the offense, let them run, let Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all these guys go. But there is zero chance they would be here without the defense being as great as they were all season long.
That begs the question, and speak now or forever hold your peace. Does anyone want to say anything else about, well, I'm not going to end the show. You're looking at me like I'm going to just go off.
Because that's a Kent move. That's a Kent move to just cut the show off.
I'm trying to get as quick as possible.
The light flashing, and he got really excited, Haley. That
was not cutting
terrifying.
The show. If you have any other thoughts.
40. Kent was ready.
About this win right here? Because dare we say, we turn our eyes towards Baltimore and start talking about that.
I have a couple fun nuggets real quick.
He's finished his water. He's quenched his thirst. He's ready to go.
I'm getting there. Third and fourth down for the Buffalo Bills. They went 9 out of 17.
Oh.
Kansas City Chiefs, 3rd and 4th down, 1 out of 5. the Chiefs' offense really wasn't getting into too many third down situations when it was all said and done. They were just moving the ball at ease.
The Chiefs had 21 first downs, and they only had 5 third downs.
So, and then one other fun stat. Last year, the Kansas City Chiefs, in their just much maligned offense, had 50 points through the first 2 playoff games. They've got 53.
Would not have thought that.
Yeah.
Would.
It's just crazy. It's just
facts that cannot be disputed.
Yeah. It's just funny to see like the narratives and the conversations, and I mean the Chiefs offense is playing right at the right time. So
hey, it's worked for them. I said coming into this game that the Bills were hot, the Chiefs were warm, and now I think the Chiefs have knocked the Bills off and taken that momentum and that heat running into Baltimore. Playoff Lamar, proving that he can win a playoff game and continuing to look pretty good. Yesterday was a good showing, and now Kansas City will turn their eyes to good old Baltimore. What do you expect? What do you think is going to happen? What's the biggest threats? We got a lot to pick apart here. Who wants to start? Don't all jump
Maddie,
at once.
would you like to put your claim on this? I'm giving you a chance.
Oh, we have claim.
Yeah, Ravens flock, Matthew.
Look at the name. Full-time Chiefs believer. Chiefs 24, Ravens 20. Lock it in. It's over. Never would I ever doubt the Chiefs. No, so it's a tough game. But I think at the end of the day, here it is. The Ravens offense functions a lot like how the Bills offense did today versus the Chiefs. A lot of runs, a lot of quarterback not exactly throwing the ball downfield or even to the intermediate areas with a lot of success, but you have to account for them in the running game, and they run the ball very well. So I think they'll face a lot of the same challenges on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the Ravens defense is healthier and a little better than the Bills, so it will be another challenge for the Chiefs offense. I feel like you could see a lot of the same stuff that you saw today kind of play out in that game. So I'm ready for it. I think it's going to be a good game. I think that you have to start with the entire thing around containing Lamar Jackson, making him a thrower, not a runner. I think that is clearly still what you have to do with him. And on the other side, you just got to maintain the momentum. I don't care how this Chiefs offense wins. They've shown they can kind of do a little bit of everything when they start clicking, like over the years, not just this year, but over the years. They don't care how they have to win. They'll find a way. I am curious to what that way will be against the Ravens, but I think they will do it because 15 is back there.
Remind me or correct me if I am wrong, Craig. The last time that they played, or anyone on here, the last time that they actually played Baltimore was week 2. And they lost, and it was because of a CEH fumble, and it was like the 2022 season. Am I making this up, or am I accurate?
Haley, I'm going to tell you something. I'm old,
I think
I barely remember anything.
I think it was 2021.
Okay, someone. It
was week 2, 2021. That was a good call.
Okay, week 2, 2021.
They lost by 1.
And it was the CEH fumble.
He fumbled at the end of the game. They were driving.
Okay, that's the last time they played Baltimore?
Yep.
Okay. That was all I really wanted to say. Craig, what say you about Baltimore?
Great memory.
I just couldn't remember if that was correct or not.
No, this is a tough one. Baltimore's defense is the only other defense in the regular season that basically hung with what the Chiefs were doing week in and week out. Like the Cleveland Browns, they were playing a pretty meh schedule there. So, I mean, like they were up there in a lot of metrics, and then you see them get to the playoffs and get absolutely destroyed by the Houston Texans. The Baltimore Ravens have a legit defense. And so we're talking about watching this Chiefs offense need to hold up their end of the deal. It's going to be an even more Herculean effort for them to do that. They're not going to be playing against a bunch of backup linebackers. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. On the defensive side of the football, Steve Spagnuolo has played Lamar Jackson really well in the past. Lamar Jackson is playing with a lot of confidence right now. It remains to be seen what's going to happen there. The last couple of times the Chiefs played this Ravens team didn't have the same weapons that they do. And with Mark Andrews potentially coming back, there's a lot of things that could go on there. But, yeah, I mean, you're in the Final Four. You're in the semifinals. You're in the conference championship. It's always hard when you get to this point. So I expect nothing less than a good football team to line up against the Chiefs.
Kent, how you see him doing?
I feel good.
Is it the bourbon?
No.
Oh.
I trust Patrick Mahomes. And that guy, Josh Allen played a really good game today, and it wasn't good enough. His best wasn't good enough, the same way Joe Burrow's best wasn't good enough, the same way Jalen Hurts' best wasn't good enough. Lamar, your best isn't going to be good enough next week because it never is, because you're not Michael Jordan. The Chiefs have him. So I'm not scared. I'm never gonna be scared.
Keep calm, cool, and collected.
I'm never picking against the best player in the world.
Because you are a true Chiefs believer.
I'm the biggest believer
Chiefs
of all time.
Believer. Guys, if you are joining us here on the Kansas City Sports Network or through Bleacher Report, do we have it also? Please weigh in. Who did I cut off?
No, he's getting the jab.
I was just saying that was false.
He thinks he's the biggest believer.
The title says it all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it says believer because I would never misspell it, but
yeah,
no, never.
God no. All facts are right. We're gonna jump on then to our toast game, which our last part of this post game show. We are gonna toast to the player, the person, the thing, the whatever that we see most memorable and deserving of a toast. Tuck, roll the film, roll the tape. All right, guys, welcome back into the Kansas City Sports Network. We're also streaming through Bleacher Report. I'm Hayley Lewis, joined by Kent Swanson. We got our producer, Tucker Franklin, on, and then we got Maddie Lane and Craig Stout joining us from home. It is now our toast game. You just saw it. It's Holladay Distillery. That's where we are. We had our watch party up here, live streaming throughout the game. A ton of Chiefs fans here, and also big shout out to Holladay Distillery for continuing to get us the bourbon, the drinks, the things, and the supplies that we need, and being a big supporter of the Kansas City Sports Network. We're going to start with our toast game. Tucker, you have a toast game as well, correct? I believe. Go. Tucker, would you like to start? Our producer is going to chime in.
Absolutely.
Please join if you'd like.
I absolutely do have a toast game. Thank you, Hayley, for throwing it to me right at this moment when I absolutely do have a toast game. I'd like to raise a glass to maybe a man who wasn't necessarily on the field, but his spirit was definitely with the team today, and it was Jason Kelce as he was hanging out the window. Yeah. He had a beer in one hand. Maybe a beer in both hands, who knows? But a great shot by him.
Woo! It was Labette Blue, too. It was Labette Blues.
My gosh. It's perfect for being up in Buffalo. But Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes breaking the record for most touchdown combinations between a pair, beating Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady. Heard of that guy before. Now it's Mahomes and Kelce for the most touchdown combinations in a postseason, which is incredible. So raising a glass to both the Kelce brothers. Woo! Cheers.
Cheers to the Kelce brothers.
And good health.
All right. Let's throw it to Kent.
Yeah, so I want to kind of compound on Travis Kelce a little bit more.
Okay.
I mean,
Kent, he stole like 3.
We didn't spend a ton. Oh, he did do that, and that's okay. But
a lump sum.
We didn't spend enough time talking about him. 5 catches, 75 yards, leads the Chiefs in receiving, and oh, by the way, 2 touchdowns. It's been a very quiet season for him, obviously. I believe he hadn't scored in 7 weeks before this. Puts 2 on the board tonight in the biggest moments in the biggest game. Travis Kelce still got it. And that was huge. I mean, he helped solve those red zone problems, right? He put 2 in the end zone, and one of them was just outside the red zone. But yeah, I mean, we didn't spend very much time talking about Travis Kelce today, so I think he deserves my toast game.
All right, a toast game's cheer to Travis Kelce. Craig, what say you?
Man, there are so many people. Like, I really want to pick Chamari Connor if he falls on that fumble. Like, I think that he was the tone setter early in that game, but I got to go Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
We want to talk about tone setters. You want to talk about a guy who helped ice this game. There was no doubt in my mind when Tyler Bass missed that field goal that the Chiefs were picking up that first down because they were going to commit to a guy that was running the ball very angrily, that was making these backup Bills linebackers hate their lives right now. It was inevitable. Isaiah Pacheco was awesome today, to the point where we are seeing him take his game up another level in the playoffs. I mean, he's a guy that, we know what his limitations are. We know what he is as a running back, and it just doesn't matter. He gets to the playoffs. He gets it done. Another key component of this offense's resurgence once they've gotten to the postseason. Isaiah Pacheco, toast game to you.
There you go. They were saying on the broadcast, he's like a kid who just put on his shoes in the store and his mom's making him run to check him out. Running back and forth, making sure they're nice and tight. Maddie, give us your post game. Who you got?
Oh, man, there's just so many. I don't know where to go. We're giving a toast game out to the entire offensive line. That's right. We're Maddie in this one. Donovan Smith outside the first play was phenomenal, stepping back into the left tackle spot. Jawan Taylor was worth every penny they paid him for this game. Like, you never once saw pressure coming off the right side. He blocked well in the run game. Trey Smith and Joe Thuney were studs at offensive guard, but I think the best player on that offensive line was Creed Humphrey. He was kicking ass all game long. You mentioned Pacheco, Craig, and Pacheco was phenomenal, but how many of those runs had Creed Humphrey either doing a short little pull to get up to the second level or just climbing immediately and latching onto a linebacker or a safety, paving the way? I thought Creed Humphrey was one of the best 3 football players on the field in this entire football game behind Patrick Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes. So shout out to the entire offensive line and Creed Humphrey. I thought he was great, and the rest of the offensive line as well. Oh, and Nick Allegretti. Sorry, I can't leave him out. He had to step in for Joe Thuney, who hurt his pec. Hey, guess what? I bet most of you didn't even notice he had to step in for Joe Thuney because he was just fine right there in this play. So shout out O-line.
All right, O-line. We also got BJ Kissel, who is joining us now on our producer's headset to give us his toast game. He is the founder and owner of KCSN and a big-time Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I just want to shout out everybody who's hanging out, supporting us on the post-game show, watching it right now. I'm hitting my feels a little bit, to be honest with you all. But 3 years into this, to have 1,600 people watching right now, our show, and being at a beautiful distillery like we are right now, we just appreciate all the support of everybody who's been following along KCSN all year long, whether it's the first time you've watched the post-game show or whether you've been hanging out with us for all the content we do throughout the week. We appreciate you more than you could possibly know for letting these local kids build a local company and try to do something different in a really crowded and really talented space. And it's been amazing to be a part of. Hayley, we are so glad that you're a part of what we are doing right now. And obviously, Kent, Craig, Maddie, we all did this together. It's a beautiful thing come together, and it's because of nights like this that make it a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see you guys this week as we start our NFL draft content down at the Shrine Bowl starting on Thursday. So the work
just covering AFC Championship games in the Shrine Bowl.
That's all we know. We don't know anything different.
This is what we do.
KC Sports Network. KC Sports Network knows nothing different.
It's just the same stuff.
Than an AFC Championship game appearance.
Pat ourselves on the back a little bit. We pride ourselves on being education, like entertain, educate, inform. We talk about it all the time with what we do. And we are going down. We're going to spend 5 days watching NFL draft prospects while also covering the Chiefs getting ready for the AFC title game. So by the time we get to the NFL draft and we're talking about these prospects, we've watched them. We've talked to them. It's a cool thing. It's special to be a part of. And I appreciate and love all of you that are a part of this, and appreciate everybody who's watching at home and supporting what we got going on.
There we go. We got to finish
Toast to BJ.
Post game. Thank you, BJ. Appreciate you being on. I'm going to get hate for this one. I really don't care. I was never a fan of this person before, and she has come into my life, and I have loved watching. I knew nothing about her except for that she was famous, and now I have become a big Taylor Swift fan because of this season. Girlie, do you. Anyone who hates you is only hating you because they ain't you. I love this because I have a lot of young girls who now want to talk about football because they're interested in it, because of pop stars in it. And I know it's not about pop culture on this thing, but I love creating. I mean, I'm a daughter of a football coach. I love creating conversations between dads and daughters, and this is an amazing outlet to do that. So Taylor Swift, thank you for being you, and thank you for supporting Travis Kelce. Kelce, don't you break her heart.
Whoa.
I'm sipping on the end of my backwash water over here, trying to focus through dry January, guys. Appreciate all of you guys for being on with us. Y'all are amazing. We appreciate all of the viewers, and thank you so much for joining us live in the chat and interacting with us. For myself, Kent Swanson, BJ Kissel, Maddie Lane, Tucker Franklin, and Craig Stout, we thank you so much for being a part of our show. Have a great night. Go frickin' Chiefs, and we'll see you at the AFC title game.
Let's go.
Dry January. That's what the Bills call the playoffs.